rings, just to count your rings. And now we're colors pouring out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings, just to count your rings, just to count your rings. Used to paint, hard to admit that I used to paint. Natural light on a human face, stenciled fire in his roommate's face. It was bloom and addiction, a miss and a push and a pigment. Book like a tattooed pigskin look. Pinhead kids in a minute, drank Kool-Aid from a tube of acrylic. And I grew up in a linseed oil or linen. Joy to the poison, voice to the resin. Capture a map of a gesture. Back up, add a little accurate fat to the figure. Redo that, move that inward. Zinc white lightning shoots from his fingers. Studios strewn with illusion and tinctures. Stay tuned for the spooky adventures. You can imagine the stars that align when a forearm starts foreshortening right, or a torso hung on a warping spine in proportion. Reads as warm and alive. Routine day with a dirt cheap brush. Then a week goes by and it goes untouched. Then 2, then 3, then a month, and the rest of your life to beat yourself up. I left some seasons eager to fall. I left some work to bury your life. I let my means of being dissolve. I let my person curl up and die. Eating up his innards and unfeasible anxiety is brutally committed to relinquishing his privacy, aligning with the trials of the anti-Midas. Snap on the back lawn, look up in the sky, it's shapes falling out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down just to count your rings, just to count your rings, just to count your rings. And now we're colors pouring out of the fringe. All heart though we would have made cowardly kings. They will chop you down.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Just to count your rings, just to count your rings.
Our very own Adam Schefter has more to say about this pick.
This is a player that many felt could be a solid role player in the NFL, but not a dominant force. That train of thought changed after one of the best defensive performances the college All-Star game has ever seen. At times, it seemed as if he were everywhere on the field during the game, disrupting both the run and pass game for the opposition. Several scouts I spoke with pointed to that performance as evidence he could dominate at a high level, and sources have told me that more than one general manager felt he was the type of defender you could build a franchise around. Now all that's left for him to prove is if the All-Star game was an aberration or a sign of things to come.
Zeus, that Colombiana, that's mere models like. Yeah. Look at the flick of that wrist. I'm feeling like Leonardo. Let me paint the picture. I might need a bottle. On the road to success, I can feel the throttle. That Michelangelo, hundreds in the envelope. Type when I write. And that old man had to change her heart. Wish he knew it back from the start. Like, looked around, seen his wife on the military all over the whole compound. Soon as he seen it, I swear it, I mean it. My members go quicker than dominoes. He in jail. Everyone falling like dominoes. Yeah, I've been killing this. Yeah, I've been hard in the paint, not a single assist. Yeah, I've been flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been how they with this. Yeah, I've been killing this. Yeah, I've been hard in the paint, not a single assist. Yeah, I've been flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been how they with this. Yeah, I've been killing that. Yeah, I've been flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been killing that, flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been killing that. Yeah, I've been hard in the paint, not a single assist. Yeah, I've been flicking that wrist, flicking that wrist.
Logic. Clockwise, counterclockwise, realest in the top 5. Other 4 ain't rapping. I'm just rapping for the side. Yeah, that's coastlines, Panama for the boat rides. Worth billions, and we ain't even need showtime. Just money counters and kitchenware. Condo with a in there. We got rich in there. Been a trophy since Hawaiian Sophie. Curry over Kobe. We shootin'. Splash Brothers with the add in soda. Good fellas to my Aureliotas. Shades of blue, I bet you. Let the sky fall, let it rain on you.
Yeah, I've been killing this. Yeah, I've been hard in the paint, not a single assist. Yeah, I've been flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been how they with this. Yeah, I've been killing this. Yeah, I've been hard in the paint, not a single assist. Yeah, I've been flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been how they with this. Yeah, I've been.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
Flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been killing that, flicking that wrist. Yeah, I've been killing that. Yeah, I've been hard in the paint, not a single assist. Yeah, I've been flicking that wrist, flicking that wrist.
All right, now that the pick's in, let's go to Adam. Adam, what can you tell us about this guy?
He flashed two things at the combine that immediately got everyone's attention. He flashed both straight line speed and the ability to turn on a dime without losing a step. But what he also did was impress each team with his football knowledge and personality during interviews. One GM in particular told me that he had a rare ability to draw up schemes and coverages as if he had them memorized. The combination of his speed and knowledge of the game made him one of the more coveted defensive backs in this year's draft. He should become a young leader for this defense in no time at all.
Hold on now. This pick is trading teams.
The Texans are now on the clock. The Saints are now on the clock. The Saints have made their selection. For more about him, let's go to Adam Schefter.
He's the type of offensive lineman that doesn't get mentioned often by the commentators, but when they do, it's complimentary. He's a smart, big guy who knows how to play mistake-free at the line. In fact, he won a stretch of games this season in which he didn't allow a single sack. That's an impressive feat for any college offensive lineman, and it's no wonder to see a team take him. He's going to have to adjust to the larger size and strength of NFL defensive linemen, but I think his intangibles are stronger than any lineman in this class.
The Lions are now on the clock. Let's go to Adam Schefter now, who's got more to say about the Lions' latest pick.
Well, there isn't much to say other than this kid was born to run. He's the spitting image of his father, a nationally ranked sprinter in several major events and highly recruited by every major college. However, unlike his dad, he chose to pursue a career in football, and so far that decision is paying off. He may not be gold medal fast, but he has the speed and quickness to cause fits for the opposing team. He's the type of player you like to see out in the open field where he can make moves a lot of other players can't. The coaches are going to love having his speed at their disposal.
Seahawks pick is in. Adam, give us the latest information on this guy.
The title of workout warrior gets thrown around a lot, but if there's one guy who deserves the tag, it's got to be him. I guess he wasn't satisfied with his combine numbers since he requested a redo on every physical test during his pro day. And boy, he sure didn't disappoint. From the 40 to the 3-cone drill and even the 20-yard shuttle, he was faster across the board. This is the kind of linebacker defensive coordinators drool over. He has the speed to move from sideline to sideline and slide into the nickel to cover the slot. After his workout was over, he even asked scouts if there was more they wanted to see. Seriously? I like this guy's attitude, and I know the team will too.
Let's go to Adam Schefter with more on Parker.
Long talked about as a top 3 defensive back prospect, his draft stock fell dramatically after a series of consecutive struggles late in the season against inferior wide receivers. Many speculated that these struggles were due to a series of nagging injuries, a theory which may have been validated by his strong performance at his pro day. I was able to talk with several GMs about him at the Combine, and they told me he possesses the raw physical skills needed to become a top-tier NFL defensive back. 3 skills in particular were mentioned by every GM I spoke to: exceptional physicality at the line of scrimmage, a nose for the ball, and better hands than most receivers they've seen and scouted. The reason for his collegiate struggles may forever be shrouded in mystery, but they'll soon be forgotten if he's able to realize his full football potential.
Promise that you'll catch me.
Pick's been made. Let's go to Adam Schefter to hear more about the player.
He's a raw athlete with a lot of upside, and the question will be, where and when does he hit his ceiling? He's still relatively new to football, as he was a track and field runner for the school his first 3 years of eligibility. He definitely has the body to play any of the skill positions in football, and he may ultimately end up playing a different position than what he's drafted as. I'm sure the coaches will love the athleticism he brings, but first they'll probably try him out at a few different areas before finding his best role.
Nothing's gonna break us. You know the part of the song, everybody sings along. Well, that's us.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Talking all night. The end is nowhere in sight. From the streets to the tracks, used to never looking back, 'cause the past doesn't last. Long as we're together, just keeps getting better. Just keeps getting better.
Now that the Broncos have made their pick, let's go to Adam Schefter for more.
This is a player that draft experts really didn't start talking about until the tail end of the season. The biggest topic of discussion was where the sudden change in production came from. I talked to his college position coach, and he told me that a nagging injury slowed him down early in the season. You can clearly see he favored one side over the other when he was put out on the field or even walking on the sidelines. After he was benched for a few weeks, he came back and played at a much higher level. Even so, some teams were still cautious and did a thorough medical examination at the Combine to be sure he was completely recovered. The results must have been positive for the team to have just drafted him now. As long as he can stay healthy, I really like what he brings to this team.
Yeah, we're living wide open, unwinding every moment, like the clock is broken, never stop.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
Yeah, we're living wide open. We know we are brighter than all the stars. As long as we're together, we'll stay young forever. We make the rules, break 'em when we want.
Falcons pick is in. Adam, give us the rundown.
He's a very athletic defensive back, but if you watch his Combine tape, you'll see why he's on defense and not a receiver. During the pass reaction drills at Indy, he had a hard time hauling in any of the passes thrown his way. Some passes he bobbled, some passes he missed by a fingertip, and at least one pass he flat dropped. He may be able to make a play on the ball with his agility, but I don't think he has the playmaking ability some teams want in their defensive backs. It'll be interesting to see how soon he gets on the field for this team early in the season.
Been over all the time. We try to walk that fast.
The Vikings are now on the clock. Adam, what can you tell us about the Raiders' newest player?
One of the nation's elite running backs until a major injury halted his progress. This is a pick that has tremendous upside associated with it. Many scouts I talk to do not believe his knee is anywhere near 100% and is still months away from regaining the strength needed to make hard cuts and the explosive first step he once had. One source even told me that rushing this kid back to the field is a recipe for disaster, possibly causing additional damage to the knee. The jury's still out on whether or not he'll return to the dominant running style he had in college, but with patience and a training staff dedicated to his rehab, this team could have a very capable running back for years to come.
This over-complex new design, I'm tripping over all the time. We try to walk a fragile line. Whatever's left is always right. I will take back what's rightly mine. This is what the sake to fight. We're gonna set this place alight. Bring it on tonight. Bring it on tonight.
The Titans are now on the clock.
Bring it. This over-complex new design, I'm tripping over all the time. We try to walk a fragile line. Whatever's left is always right. I will take back what's rightly mine. This is what the sake to fight.
Cardinals are off the clock now. Adam, what can you tell us about this guy?
Successes and failures seem to go hand in hand during a very inconsistent season for him. Leading into his pro day, scouts expressed a great deal of concern over his inability to string together consistent positive performances. Those who attended came away extremely impressed with his raw physical abilities and footwork, feeling that with time and proper coaching, he could develop into a formidable NFL lineman. This pick may not pay immediate dividends, but it's a solid investment in the future of the offensive line.
Call it Babe Ruth, ball it. Your boyfriend's got a cauliflower, and I'm a. So sue me. Who you, Judge Judy? Stacking the rubies and like.
The Eagles are now on the clock.
You're not relevant. Trolling on the internet. No respect. Haven't moved out of your parents' basement yet. Big neck. Coming with the beat that's gonna break your neck.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
Can you hear me now? If you like it loud, we can make it loud. Can you hold it down? 'Cause we can hold it down. Yeah, you can hear me now. Yeah, you can hear me now. Turn it up to 11. Blow it up straight to heaven. Dropping big beats, so they gotta listen. Yeah, you can hear me now. We're just a couple of weirdos.
The Packers are now on the clock.
Sending bass into your earlobes like your bleached out hairdos. We glowing in the dark, got the spark, about to flare the fuse. That's just how we do. To Geronimo, parachute, skydiving off your parents' roof. Crew, saw the magician's assistant in half like who the are you? Who the are you? Who the are we? We be the dudes who just come over to water the lawn. We don't.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
We nice like that. We super nice like that. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? If you like it loud, we can make it loud. Can you hold it down? 'Cause we can hold it down. Yeah, you can hear me now.
The Dolphins are now on the clock. The Redskins are now on the clock.
Hello, my name is Kamal. I am from the clouds. I'm a human now, but I used to be a raindrop. Word up, I'm really good at putting words up. I make them levitate and circle with the birds. I don't need to force it, I let it occur. Whatever occurs, thank you. Feel like I was touched by an angel. Once again, a whole nother angle. I got a lot of holes in my ankle. I got a lot of love and a whole lot of ignorance, and that's a good thing if you want to relate. I'm just trying 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 to relate. It's come out like a power within him. I get down like gravity, rap.
The Saints are now on the clock.
To the rapids of being rapping and rattling, rattle riddles and rivets into the sky. I'm a rebel, feeling riveting, rhythmically right. And vigorous, spinning right to the rhythm, but to the side eye. I am the killer in the grasses. I am the kid in the corner with the glasses. I am the specter, you should respect them. I don't expect the special, ain't special. I don't expect nothing. I'm just really glad I can say something. It's a blessing. Ain't no stress affecting my presence. But sometimes the pressure keeps pressing. Worst keeps my impression impressed. That's the way to relate. I'm just trying to relate. I'm just trying.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
I'm just trying to relate. Now, presence, come out.
Don't make me beg, don't make me wait. I need a hold in the darkness of the night. And when I stray, show me my place. You are my shelter, baby, let me feel your light.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
One foot in a deep revival, another one going in the fire. Only one that can save me now is you. Healer, oh, I need a healer. I can feel it now, I can feel it now. Got to give it up now. Healer, oh, I need a healer. I can feel it now, I can feel it now. Got to give it up.
The Redskins are now on the clock.
This aching pain when you're away, like a burning ship that sets the sails to you. Fingertips, press my lips, make me sing that holy song the way you do. Holy Ghost inside, let it loose and lay it on. Only one that can save me now is you. Healer, oh, I need a healer. I can feel it now, I can feel it now. Got to give it up now.
The Packers are now on the clock.
I need a healer.